been in the military since I was 19. I went from high school to basic training, and the Army was my home.
It's a similar story for so many soldiers.
When I was told to go, I went. And I did it to the best of my ability.
One that doesn't always end the same way.
It was actually brought to my attention because when I came back, I was normal in my own case because everybody around me was doing the same thing.
Juan Guzman is a former soldier who spent 7 years in the military, most recently at Fort Knox.
So it's hard, and so everybody's learned to live without you. So it's hard to get yourself back into that group.
Guzman says he tried, but something just wasn't right. He was angry and wasn't his outgoing self. His daughter, 5 years old at the time, brought it to his attention.
She said I wasn't the same anymore. That kind of made me realize that something was wrong.
Juan Guzman is not alone.
I became paranoid that everybody was either watching me, trying to hurt me, was a threat to me. When I'd go in someplace to eat or go into Walmart to buy groceries, doing automatic threat analysis on everybody in there who would be the first person I would have to take out to get out of there.
They're struggling with a mental health disorder called PTSD.
PTSD, the first thing it goes is your sleep. So you don't sleep, you become grouchy and angry because you're not sleeping.
It's a disorder that can happen to anyone, but more and more we're hearing about soldiers battling this new war.
It is a traumatic event that has triggered this reaction in their body, and they're not recovering from it. It's not going away naturally.
Dr. Laura Johnson is a psychologist at Fort Knox. She says when soldiers return home from combat operations, they are screened on different criteria, including whether they are sleeping, eating, having nightmares, or withdrawing. But sometimes it can take a while for them to realize something isn't right.
It's not really full-blown PTSD for about 6 months, and that's when you start to see, because otherwise it's just acute stress or an acute stress disorder, and they're reacting through that.
And even then, some still don't talk about it.
Well, they're not telling us what's going on, then we have no way of knowing.
To some soldiers, there's still a stigma surrounding PTSD that keeps them from getting help. Doctors say talking about it is crucial.
I wanted to, but in my head it's a career ender. I'm getting help.
Instead, Juan Guzman avoided crowds, turned to alcohol, and pushed his family away until he went too far.
I ended up overdosing. And I put myself in a coma for a month. Died 3 times that month. I had to learn how to walk and talk again. That's when eventually I got help.
We see the worst of humanity. I mean, the worst thing that human beings could do to each other, we witness.
This soldier is still struggling with PTSD. He was placed on medication, but this is another way he's getting help.
I draw a lot. That's part of my therapy that I've prescribed myself as art therapy.
He, like dozens of other soldiers, have turned to Christy Faulkner, the woman behind the nonprofit in Radcliffe, Kentucky, called Operation Resilient Warrior. She encourages alternative treatments rather than medication.
There are equestrian programs where they go and get to ride and care for horses, which helps quite a bit. Music therapy, art therapy.
And she says the therapy is helping the soldiers. Like them, Faulkner has also experienced PTSD, but on the other side of it as a wife.
It changed the dynamic of our family, what it was before, to the new, what I call the new normal, understanding why it's that way and adapting.
Dr. Laura Johnson says the military is taking PTSD seriously and raising awareness about it. She says Fort Knox offers soldiers different types of therapy and programs, including a warrior wellness group. They also encourage soldiers to get help at any time, including late at night at the emergency room on post. She says as the war wears on, more people are coming forward for help, wrestling with symptoms, although it isn't always PTSD.
It has become more acceptable to seek help. It's become almost unacceptable not to seek help if you're struggling with something.
It's the soldiers who aren't getting help that are a concern. Suicides for soldiers nationwide are up, on average 22 soldiers a day. That's something those close to the health disorder are hoping to help prevent.
Because 22 a day is too many. One is too many. It is heartbreaking.
It's a sign of weakness if you stay in the fight, I think, if you stay in that mental fight. I think the stronger person is the one that can raise their hand and say, I need help.
It does not matter what anybody else thinks. You take care of yourself. And if you have a family, you take care of yourself so you can take care of your family.